The primary aim of global citizenship education is nurturing respect for all, building a sense of belonging to a common humanity, and helping learners become responsible and active global citizens. Education for global citizenship helps young people develop the core competencies which allow them to actively engage with the world and help to make it a more just and sustainable place. The UN's Global Education First initiative notes, "It is not enough for education to produce individuals who can read, write, and count. Education must fully assume its central role in helping people to forge more just, peaceful, tolerant, and inclusive societies." It is important for global citizenship education to be promoted at Waseda in order to develop global citizens who can take their lifelong learning with them once they leave school, while having an active role both locally and globally in building a more peaceful and inclusive society. An ideal global citizenship education would be to create and empower students to actively face and resolve global challenges. This can be done through the ideals of education of progressivism. Progressivism is process-oriented and a system of learning by doing, focusing on fostering the development of students by providing freedom for experimentation and making connections to experiences outside of the classroom. Group work and the opportunity to work together are prioritized under this style of learning. Waseda's idea of global citizenship education has been created under neoliberalization and a world that values social mobility and competition. This is shown through the purpose of GCE, where education is simply a means of qualification, a means of succeeding in the global market if you have a degree. In comes the concept of elitism, where universities simply compete in the global neoliberal market to send off students who can increase the reputation of the school and nation. The Waseda vision page discusses a lot about employability, which shows how the school only cares about employability once leaving university, rather than learning about lifelong lessons and responsibilities. There is the aspect of the sales department still being very Japanese-based, with most emails being sent out in Japanese to even non-Japanese students. Many internship opportunities or important emails from the office can be missed, due to the contents of the emails being in that of a different language to these diverse group of students. Waseda circles are also not very diverse, with circles mainly consisting of just Japanese or international students. When we see these circles promoting next to Okuma at the beginning of every semester, they only promote either in Japanese or English. From the get-go, there is a barrier, creating an unwillingness to wanting to join. Application forms are also often offered in either just Japanese or just English, implying from the beginning which language speaker they would like to recruit for their circle. Even the search function for circles on the Waseda page is only offered in Japanese, making it more difficult for international students to find a circle that they would like to join. Even circles that have English names, or both an English and Japanese name, which may be appealing to both groups, attract almost no foreign students. This segregation between Japanese and international students remains evident in the classroom, where students tend to make friends based on the language they speak. There is often an unwillingness for an international student to speak Japanese to a Japanese student, or for a Japanese student to speak English to an international student. Many of the classes are also academic-based rather than experience-based. There is often no discussion involved between the students, which eliminates information transfer and learning about the experiences of other peers. Students can be isolated by not understanding the topic or what the teacher is saying, with them missing the opportunity to be able to talk about the information with peers and learning more. Do you know what global citizenship education is?
No, I haven't heard of it.
What problems do you think there are with the way that global citizenship is currently being practiced at Waseda University?
In my opinion, I think there are some website pages of the university website that are hard to be accessed by English speakers or non-Japanese speakers.
Being part of the English program, but taking classes with other Japanese students, I feel like you find that although there is like supplies in English, it's like the bare minimum compared to Japanese.
A lot of the textbooks required to take classes in English-based degree programs are also in Japanese, such as that suggested by my interviewee Arisa.
Oh yeah, so I have this one class. It's for English and Japanese students, thermodynamics. but all the tests and practice questions and homework are based on the Japanese textbook. In order to have a good grade in the class, you kind of need the Japanese textbook, which is only available in Japanese.
What actions do you think can be taken at the university to overcome these problems so it can raise its success at developing global citizens?
Having the website more accessible for more diverse language speakers.
Making things accessible to students, if you were to diversify the people who run everything, it would help a lot. Like, I think having someone who is Japanese American or having someone who is English based in the office, they would understand, or they would just think like the automatic thing to do is have some resources available in English. And I think starting by diversifying where everything starts from can kind of create an effect, like a ripple effect, where it makes a more welcoming environment for global students.
I think we need more support on gaining Japanese language, because it's obvious that we need to be fluent in Japanese, but I think if there's more support for it, I think it would be better for international students to engage in Waseda with Japanese students.
Diversifying sales office workers would allow for more websites, emails, and student information to be in a variety of languages. Whenever I go to the sales office, there is only ever one lady who can speak English. Whenever I arrive in the office workers always send the same lady my way, as they assume I can only speak English. Because the student population at Waseda is more diverse than ever, Waseda must begin to also diversify the staff in order to raise its success of creating global citizens. Incentivizing taking classes of a different department would not only minimize the divide between Japanese and foreign students, but completely immerse students in a different language, where they are able to go out of their comfort zone. This exposure would result in more global-minded students, who are able to challenge themselves comfortably in a welcoming environment. There shall be no disadvantages to their grade as long as they are fully participating, and they would fall under a different grouping system called GCE language immersion. This GCE language immersion system would be perfect for international students who have good Japanese language ability and would like to take a class conducted in Japanese, but fear that the language barrier could result in seclusion or lower grades. It would also be perfect for Japanese students who have decent English language ability and would like to take a class conducted in English in order to improve their English, but are afraid that their grades will be impacted as their English may not be as good compared to that of other SIL students. Incentivizing diversifying circles would minimize the divide between Japanese and foreign students and encourage students to learn or improve a second or third language. It would further encourage students to make friends with people from a different country and allow foreign students to feel included in Japanese society and want to stay in Japan in the future. In a progressivism manner, including compulsory discussions in SIL's classrooms would allow Japanese students to increase their English ability through speaking. It would further allow students to share their own experiences based on what they have learnt and allow them to create connections and bonds so that there is less isolation. To have compulsory discussions also forces students to speak to people they may not normally speak to, increasing social skills and language ability.
I think it's a pretty good idea. And considering how many of the sales classes are already open courses, which students from other departments can take, I think sales courses are already accessible because of that, but I think the university can enhance that accessibility by giving incentives to the Japanese speakers who are not that confident in English speaking and stuff. But I actually totally agree with the last part. But there are many English speaking students or non-Japanese speaking students who want to try taking Japanese courses offered in Japanese, but people are too scared to take those because they don't want to get low marks. We have the opportunity to take the courses, but it's kind of hard to really use that opportunity. So,
furthermore, Waseda must take a progressivist approach in the classroom and proper initiative in ensuring Waseda is able to use the potential that they already have to further incorporate systems which provide incentives for those that are willing to challenge themselves to achieve something out of their comfort zone. In this environment where there are no repercussions due to language barriers but instead support, will Waseda be able to raise its success at developing global citizens?
Give us the credit. We need
Professor gives us some credits